Yes, sir. Shall
Achal,
we
please
begin
start.
with the prayer?
Yes, Achal.
Let's pray. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful afternoon. Thank you for giving us yet another opportunity to become part of this series of lectures, to expand our knowledge and deepen our wisdom. Lord, as we read in the Bible, how much better to get wisdom than gold. To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. Lord, more than gold or silver or any other thing, we discern that the knowledge that we are getting, that's the most powerful thing that we are getting from you. As we have got this platform to learn new things from wise people, Lord, give us the patience, the wisdom, the intelligence to understand the things so that it can cater the society, it can cater the students, and it can become a tool, and it will result in the betterment of the whole community of Hindustan. We pray for the leaders, we pray for the organizers, and we pray for the whole management. We pray for each and every delegate who is attending this meeting. We seek your wisdom and your presence. We ask this prayer in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Achal. Anand, sir, please
Yes,
share
sir.
your screen. Please share
Okay.
your screen and proceed, sir. Already we have 28 attending.
Sure. Let me do that.
Keep in person.
So good afternoon, everyone. So I hope the voice is clear, sir, just to check.
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Okay. So today we would be discussing on how to use MATLAB Grader. So basically for automatic assessment and evaluation of the MATLAB based assignments, which you might be using in your course, different courses. So that is the main criteria. And we have, so Harish, Anand, I am there, and Suraj from Design Tech is also there today. And Shovik will be joining after a while. So maybe around 3:30 a.m., 3:30 p.m. And I see around 28 attendees. So let's get started with some slides to just give an overview of what it is. And I hope some of you got some time to try out the assignments that was given earlier. So last week we enrolled quite a few, more than 100, I think, more than 100 faculties and research scholars for that sample demo assignment course. So I hope you have your questions. Do let us know your questions. You can unmute yourself at any point, and also you can type it in the chat window. On whatever queries you are having related to this, we would be happy to answer them. So for those of you who haven't visited the website, so this is grader.mathworks.com. So you have to just type it in the browser window and you have to log in there to get started. So in case you have not created your MathWorks account, then you have to also create your MathWorks account prior to this, because the login credentials are same. So I'm just typing this in the chat window for everyone. So okay, so those of you who are present here, I see around 34 now. So can you just type it out in the chat window whether you have already logged in earlier to this portal, grader.mathworks.com. So the portal looks like this. So after opening it,
Anand, sorry to interrupt you before you start off. Could you also please make Janardhan the panelist? Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
oh yeah, sure. Let me do that. Yeah, I've made him the panelist too. Yeah, thank you, Harish, for mentioning that. Okay, so I see some yes, I see a couple of no's also. So in case you haven't created it, then let me just show you in an incognito window how to do that. So it is once you go to this website, you have to sign in with your MathWorks ID. So if you do not have the MathWorks ID, that is, if you have not created it, then you have to sign up. If you're doing it if you want to create the account first, you can type your institute mail ID here and fill the location and what best describes you, whether you are a faculty or a research scholar student, and just create the account. Okay, you will get a notification in your mail. Then using that same institute mail ID and password, you can enter into MATLAB Grader portal here. Okay, so that is the step. So you can try to do that as well at your end, and then let me close this thing. Then you will be logged into this portal. Okay, so we will come back to this portal after a while. Let's go over some of the slides just to give a brief background and motivation of what is the main utility of this thing and how you can use it in your courses. So yeah, so it's a poll question. So just to understand the audience better, so who are present as of now. So do you plan to use MATLAB in your courses? So whatever subjects you are teaching, so do you plan to use MATLAB for teaching that course? Then you can type Y or yes, or if you are not planning, you can type a no. Also, I see. Okay, thank you for answering. I see yes. I see. Okay, if you're not planning as of now, it is okay. But I see. Yes. Quite a few yes. Okay, so in case you are not planning, so you can observe this session. So because this is basically how you can use this tool to automatically assess MATLAB based assignments. So, but you can always, since you have already joined, you can see what are the capabilities of this tool. And whenever you are ready to use MATLAB in your course, if it is required, then you can refer to this once again. So it is recorded here. I see another thing. Kindly help solve assignment 3. Output plot is correct after some manipulation that I did, but the exact answer is not coming correct. Okay, thank you. So I thank you, Professor Tita. So you have went through the problems, and that is good to hear. So you are facing some issue. Okay, surely we will look into that. Thanks for mentioning that in the chat window. So another question, which is the following question, like, are you planning to give out MATLAB based assignments? So one thing is you are teaching MATLAB in your courses. Second, if you are teaching, whether you want to give MATLAB based assignments to your students, whether it is a lab or theory course. So again, you can just type Y or N. So if both the answers are Y, then this session would be relevant to you. I hope you can ask quite a few, like Professor Tita already asked one. You can ask your queries also, whatever troubles you may have faced earlier in that portal. or whatever questions you are having right now during the session. Okay, thank you for your input. So today's agenda is like this. So we will try to go over the framework and show you both the approaches, how we can use it as an instructor and as a learner. Okay, so it may not be purely hands-on, but if you are if you have already logged in the at the other end, so you can also follow certain portions. Okay, but we will try to show you the workflow. And second, what are the challenges in effective evaluation and solution? So MATLAB based coding is one thing, submitting the assignment is the second thing, and evaluating them, so that is a big challenge. So what are the main challenges that are there and how we can overcome those? Okay, and then the third thing is so it's not the hands-on as it is written here, but we will show you how to set up a problem and how to create a course, how to set the assignment criteria. Okay, how to add problems and how to solve them, so from the students or from the learner's perspective. Also, in case you have any learning management system like Moodle, so this MATLAB Grader can also be integrated with that thing. So that is also there. So what is learning by doing? So it's a hands-on approach to learning. So it is also known as experiential learning. So whatever things are taught theoretically in the blackboard, okay, so we have to try to do some experiments with that using some computational tool. So teaching, for example, teaching the equation of Fourier transform. Okay, so that is what is the mathematics behind it is taught in the classroom. Now the students can use the computational tool like MATLAB to do multiple things. Maybe write the equation in the MATLAB and see what are the different coefficients, how it can be plotted, how to visualize it. Then one step ahead in terms of application, in what kind of signal processing application do we need to use Fourier transform or fast Fourier transform? So what is the utility there? So those things. So whenever a student is applying certain things that is taught in theoretically, taught in the theory of the subject, then that is known as experiential learning. So that is the reason we want to give these kind of assignments to them in different courses. And for that, we need to also assess the students whether they are doing it correctly or not. So that is why we are discussing this tool today. And second is on the hands-on components to enable adding value. So what are the different applications of the learned concepts and how they can solve real world problems? Okay, and whether they will be able to formulate a problem and use computational method to obtain a solution. Okay, so these are the things that will be enabled once they go through this process of using computational tool to learn certain concepts. And for that reason, we are designing this kind of virtual environment with exercises, assignments, and quizzes. Okay, to grade the students in this particular framework, right? Now coming to MATLAB Grader. So on the left, you can see a traditional grading system. So here you can see a faculty who has to check so many copies. So I can say that you must be familiar with these things, not only during the start of the semester, after the examination, or after the submission of assignments. So there is a huge pile of copies that you need to correct one after the other, and which takes time, which is very obvious. It may take 1 week, 2 weeks, depending on the number of copies and the number of instructors or the teaching assistants who are responsible to correct it. And after that, the student will receive a feedback. Okay, so by the time the student receives the feedback, so they might be studying something else, because within the 2 weeks of time they may get more assignments from different subjects, and they may not be in a state to read that feedback. So it won't be that effective, because they are working on the next homework, probably in the same subject or in a different subject. So this process is a kind of creates delay, and also it's burdensome both from the faculty perspective, because faculty has to check so many things. So this will limit the number of assignments that could be given in a particular semester. So maybe a faculty is planning to give 4 assignments apart from the examination, but due to this process, they may end up giving 1 assignment or 2 assignments. Okay. So to replace this traditional grading scheme, we introduce another scheme which is known as auto grading. So suppose this grading portion can be done automatically. Okay. And the assignment, instead of assignment which is submitted using pen and paper, okay, if we give assignment which can be submitted online, yeah, using some files, and which can be checked by some tool, okay, then it will reduce this gap, this waiting gap of 1 to 2 weeks. This is the first advantage. The second advantage is that the teacher need not correct every time the student submits the assignment. So once the framework is ready, so if there is a reference solution stored there, I will come to that. What do I mean by reference solution? So then it will be automatically assessed, as well as the student will get instant feedback. So 2 things are achieved. Okay. And with instant feedback, the students can improve and learn. So suppose the student is not able to solve some particular problem, getting some error, the student will know that that the student, he or she, is getting some error there. Then they can try to do that problem in another way, okay, instantly, and try to try with fewer more attempts. The student may come up with the right answer as well. Okay, so if you see, compare it with this case where the student was waiting for 2 weeks to get the feedback, and after that student may have lost interest in that. Okay, here the student is able to actually improve and learn on the aspect. So there are multiple advantages in this auto grading system. So in a nutshell, you can say MATLAB Grader is a tool to save the time for grading MATLAB code and provide immediate feedback to students. So that is what MATLAB Grader is. Now coming to some of the challenges, like what are the different challenges in evaluation using MATLAB Grader? No, what are the various challenges which can be addressed when we use MATLAB Grader? So that is when we use this auto grading system. So one of the challenges generating interest in attempting assignments. So whenever we give some assignment to the students, so if they do not find any interest, they may not start doing the assignment unless there is a deadline, or unless it has some marks component in it, and it is not that much effective in terms of learning the things that the teacher wants them to learn. So in this auto grading framework, we can create the problems with certain figures or hyperlinks, so that it becomes about visually attractive, and the student may find some interest. Okay. You may also give links to video tutorials or research papers apart from the pictures, so which the student may also refer for a particular kind of assignment, just to generate interest in them. Second is about the classroom size. So if there is a large class size, so obviously that is a problem, because large class size means more number of assignment submission. For that, time will increase if it has to be corrected manually. So wherein automated framework can reduce time significantly. So on the bottom right, you can see this is a script-based assignment. So this script can be directly compared. The solution can be compared with the reference script to give this automatic assessment result. The third problem is evaluating accuracy of the submitted code in a timely manner. Okay, so when there is when we are checking some assignment manually, so there is every chance that we may correct or we may make some mistakes in terms of correcting those assignments, because there is some time limit and so many one after the other you have to check those things. So there will be some problem related to accuracy of correction, so which will not be the case in case of automated framework, because it is computerized and it is checking with the inbuilt solution. So that is another problem which can be solved here. So this one we already discussed about the delayed feedback. So here we are not getting any delay. So immediately we are getting the instantaneous feedback. Then identifying concepts that need to be reinforced and students who need help. Okay. So on the right bottom graph, you can see this is a graph from the learner analytics. So where you can actually see the submission. All these points are different submissions. The green ones are the correct ones. The red one is the incorrect one. And this blue one is the leading solution. Leading solution means it is a correct solution and it is probably taking less space, or the number of lines of code is less here. So that is why it is a leading solution. So from here you can actually identify. So what by just clicking on these dots, you can identify what is the main problem, what are the main common mistakes that the students are making. It may be that most of the students are making a common mistake in this range. So you can easily look into this and you can help them during the assessment also. So this is very useful. And finally, this can be integrated with those learning management platforms, so like Moodle or etc. In case you want to, but it can be used independently as well. So that is not a factor. Now, coming to these two things. So to understand the MATLAB Grader workflow, you have to understand two things. So if you are the instructor, that is you are the teacher, then you have to know this instructor workflow, which has three components: to create the content, like creating the problems, adding those problems. So it can be created from scratch or it can be edited from the existing ones. And then invite TAs or other instructors who might be part of the same course. So there can be more than one instructor for a particular course. They can be co-instructor, or the research scholars might be the teaching assistants for that course. So you have to invite them. So that can be done. And finally, invite the students. So once the course is created and you want to roll out the course, roll out the assignments, then you have to invite the students. So all the students assigned to that course. That's it. And I add a course syllabus. So those can be mentioned while creating the course itself. That's it. And once that is done, from the student's perspective, student will receive an email, a notification. Whenever there is an invitation, they will receive a notification and they can open that email, and with the link, they can open MATLAB Grader at their end, and they have to develop the solution. So this is what we did actually. So we enrolled you as learners last week, so with your email IDs, and gave a sample set of problems. So you might be familiar with this workflow. So those of you who have tried it, so you must be familiar that after opening it, you have to write some solution. It could be a function-based solution or a script-based solution, and you have to submit it. So once you submit, if it is correct, you are getting that instant feedback. If it is wrong, then you are also getting a feedback with some comments why it is wrong and whether you can submit it again, so that you get a scope to refine the solution. Okay, that's it. And once this is done, finally the instructor can download the submission and see the performance of the student in the form of reports or directly in the MATLAB Grader platform itself. So the learner, the instructor can understand that track how the students have performed for that course. Okay. So this is the main thing. Now let me go to the grader platform. So before going that, let me just check where is the chat window. Yeah, or anyone. So with any queries or doubts till now. So after this, we will go to the grader platform and show both the workflows, how it is done. But before that, those of you who have tried, any thoughts or any questions, you can just unmute yourself and speak. Any comments? So I don't think there is any comment. So Professor, is it okay to go to the MATLAB Grader platform now?
Anand sir,
Huh.
yes sir. Actually, right now mathematics department and robotics department are teaching MATLAB. Especially we have the curriculum. If you can cover up, select some questions from mathematics and mechanical mechatronics topics for creating a course and how to create a course. If you can use those areas, it will be great helpful.
Okay, so thank you for mentioning that. Okay, sure. I will try to show that to you as well. Yeah. And yeah, let me then go to the grader platform once again. So this is the MATLAB Grader platform, and where we will find these three links very useful. The 13-minute video to get started, documentation, and this teaching with MATLAB. So this is a 2-hour self-paced course for all teachers, out of which you will let me just open and show you. So there are various modules, out of which the 6th module. So this is actually focusing on how to create and automatically grade MATLAB coding assignments with Grader. So it takes around 30 minutes. So in case you do not have more time to go through all of these, you can directly go to module 6 and see this to understand more. Okay, now here we have already created this course earlier, which is known as Learn MATLAB. Okay. Okay, so this course was already created, and we had around two to three assignments here with some problems inside it. And I am going to show you this section. Yeah, this manage people section. So right now I have enrolled you as learners. So those of you who have filled that form earlier, that was shared earlier. So after enrolling you all, I can see your mail ID and name here. But for the cases where I cannot see the name, it means you haven't created your MathWorks account. So for them, I would suggest to create your MathWorks account the way it was shown at the beginning. And if you find any difficulty, you can surely contact us. But after creating your account using your mail ID, I think your name will be displayed here. So for others, it is displayed. Okay. Now, similarly, when you are creating a course, you can assign a co-instructor also. So at this point, I haven't assigned anyone, so it shows 0. But for your course, you can just type in your mail ID and you can assign someone as a co-instructor. Okay. And next, what can I do? So this course is already created. So I will show you how to create a new course, that I will show you. But before that, since this course is already created, so I wanted to show you how to manage people in this particular course. So this is one thing that you should know. So second is if I go to this particular course, okay, there is this action tab where you can go to manage people, or you can edit the content of the course as well. So here I want to show you. So whenever you are creating a course, so that must have some specific duration. So suppose the start date was 21 July and the end date is 22nd. Okay. 22nd 8. Oh, okay, sure. This is August. Okay, so this is the entire duration. So this will be valid between this time, and you can also modify it if you want to extend it further. Okay, similarly, for each of the assignments, if I go to the edit link, so there will be this visibility date. So visible, so there is no due date as such. So it will be visible from this time. So there is no due date. So I'm just extending it to the same time, entire course duration, so that this becomes the due date for this particular assignment. But this you can also vary based on the time limit. Maybe you can keep it for 1 week or 2 weeks. And there is this option of giving the students as you can solve it unlimited number of times, or you can submit with some limitations, like I mentioned here 5 times. So for each problem you can submit up to 5 times. Okay, so this is another thing that can be mentioned in each of the assignments. And then I'm just saving this assignment here. Right, now since I am the instructor here, I can see the progress. So see, I can see the first question. So it is around 13 out of the 105 learners got a chance to solve it, and since it is green in color, it is solved correctly. Okay, and for the other problems it is less, like here we have 7 out of 105, here we have 4 out of 105. Okay, and here we have 2 out of 105. So this is one thing we can see from, you can understand what is the performance of the classroom. So that is one thing. Secondly, I would like to show you the learner analytics, maybe for problem 1 itself. So because maximum of them have solved it. So this was to compute the volume of a cone. So the problem statement is mentioned here. This is the formula, and let me show you the instructor preview. So for the instructor, like the instructor can see, has to make the problem. So we'll have this access to this environment to edit the problem statement, and we'll have this section, the code section, with one sub tab known as reference solution. So we have to provide the reference solution, like RH is mentioned, and the volume is H into R, H pi R square by 3. Okay, so this is the solution. And we have to also provide a learner template. So suppose we have already given the R and H value to the learner, then the task of the learner is to understand the question and come up with the answer. Suppose here the answer is to compute volume. So one line of code has to be written. Okay, so that is what you have done earlier. Now let me go back here and show you the learner analytics. Like if I want to see the class overview, means the performance of the entire class here. So see here, I can see it in a graphical format. So 12% have solved, around 13 have solved, 92 have not yet submitted. And secondly, how many submissions are required to solve the problem, right? So if it is 1, 2, or around 4, so no one took more than 4 submissions. 4 was the maximum. Also, there is no one who took 3. So either it is 1, 2, 3. So these statistics also you have. So you can understand more than 50% took around 2 attempts. So that must be because they are new to the framework. So that must be a very common thing the first time when they are attempting. So that is thing. And second, average number of attempts. Okay, the average submissions required to pass each test. So that is also calculated here. Secondly, you can see the learner solution. So if you go here, each and every solution that is submitted, you can see and have a look at the code. So the solution, the answer may be same, but the solution is different. Okay, for example, here, this is the code that is written. Here the code is written, same code is written in a slightly different way. Both are giving correct answer. Okay, so suppose it is not giving the correct answer, then it is highlighted in red. So this will give you the entire solution, and you can also have a map view for that, right? So this is what when we were in the slides, I showed you a figure. So this is the same figure actually. So it gives the order of arrival, means whenever the solution is submitted, so based on the time it plots here, and whether it is correct or incorrect, it will show up in green or red, and whichever solution is taking less number of space or less line, it will be the leading solution. And I think if there is a okay, so here it is. This is also leading. Instead of pi, 3.14 is mentioned, but this is more preferred because pi is already there. Inbuilt function is there. Pi r square is by 3. That's it. So this is the leading solution that we have. Okay, so this is quite easy. Secondly, okay, so how do you how do you judge? Means how do you feel whether it is useful or not? Means this learner analytics section. So just thinking from your perspective, I just wanted to know. Suppose you are giving some assignments and you want to check or see these things from the students how they have submitted. So if it is useful, you can type a Y in the chat window or this learner analytics portion. Yeah, I see one Y. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so you are finding it useful, and I think it is good to know that you are following. So next, what I should say here is, yeah. So maybe you have started to doing script-based problem. Let me go over one problem actually. I mean, the entire problem. So suppose a function-based problem. So the first one was a script-based problem. The second is a function-based problem where we want to calculate the temperature in Celsius given a temperature in Fahrenheit. So we know this is the conversion formula. So temperature in any kind of plagiarism check is possible or not. So thank you for asking that in chat. So yeah, I would be addressing that through this example. Yeah, that's a very valid point. How to check for plagiarism. So we can see the code, that is okay. But even then, so let's go through this problem. I hope after I go through this will be answered. So we want to calculate, create a function actually, which will calculate the temperature in Celsius. And this is the formula which is given already to the student. Okay, so I am going to the, should I go to the learner preview first? Okay, let me go to the learner preview first. So from the learner's perspective, that is the student will read the problem, will get this kind of template where the student has to write the code inside this function. So this is the function which is sending the temperature in Celsius, and we have to solve it using the solution, right? So I'm just typing it out. This is temp, C is the variable name. I am creating temp, what is the variable? Capital F minus 32 divided by 1.8. Okay, that's it. I can give a semicolon or not, so that is optional. So if I just write this, I can probably run this function here, and I can see I'm getting a output of 100. So why? Because this is the code to call the function where we are sending 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, this is the argument to this function temp f2c, and this function is defined here. Okay, we are sending 212 here, which goes here. It is computed, and it returns back to the variable temp c. Okay, and that gets stored into TC, this T capital C variable. So that is what we can see here. We can test it before submission actually. So to save the number of attempts of wrong submission, we can run the function. We can check this. Okay. Similarly, we can just change the value, maybe enter 70 and run the function to see a different answer. Okay. So this way we can check whether it is written correctly or not. So this is a one-line function, but for other problems, complicated problems, it may happen there are multiple lines. So you need to check the output of the function, the final variable, which is being sent. So at that time, you may need to check for multiple test cases. So you can do that. So once that is checked, you can go for submission. So I went for submission, and both the assessment is correct. So one is the value correct for positive temperatures? Is the value correct for negative temperatures? So these are the two assessment types that was actually given here. So now this is the learner's template. Going back to the going back to the instructor's template. So we were here. Okay, we were here. So we saw this template from the learner's perspective, but from the instructor's perspective, we have this reference solution tab as well, where we have provided this solution. Okay, so this is the second part, and the third part is mentioning the assessment type, means what kind of assessment should be there. So for this particular problem, we have actually given two different tests. So one is to check the answer for positive temperature, one is to check the answer for negative temperature. Okay, so let me just open it and show you what is written here. So the test type here is MATLAB code, and let me first just, I cannot edit it because I haven't set it to draft. I'm setting it to draft. So this is the option where after which I can edit the entire thing. Finally, I can again save it as final when it is done. So I wanted to edit this particular line actually. So just to show you. So yeah, here a temperature of 78 is considered as a test input. Okay, so which is actually inside the assessment area. The student has no idea about it, and it will be checked. Okay, the reference. The first one is the student solution, which is the same function which is used here, and the second one is you have to write reference.temp f2c, but the same function but with the reference indexing, because this is the reference solution. So it will take the function which is mentioned in the reference solution, and in the other case it will take from the learner solution. So for the learners you do not need to mention anything, but for the reference solution you have to just mention this additional term. Then you can compare using this access variable equal function. You can compare this tempc with the reference solution, and if it is okay, if there is a match, then it is good when the student has submitted it correctly. Okay. Similarly, for the other part, here we are providing negative input because we want to check whether the function is operating correctly with the negative values as well, and we can do the assessment. Now coming to the question that professor asked earlier, like any kind of plagiarism check is possible or not. So one way to do is that, so whenever you are creating such problems, for example, in this problem, so instead of creating one for positive or one for negative, you can also create an additional problem like just by modifying a single line. So maybe you are generating a random number and you are mentioning 70, okay, or any other value, right, which will give you the temperature. So it will change from every time you run it, it will give a different value, and based on that, it will check the solution. So in this case, actually, what do you mean by plagiarism? So there are multiple meanings. So one is the student is checking, copying the entire code. So that is difficult actually. If the same code is copied, so if someone is solving this and the other student is just copying the code, so that form of plagiarism is difficult to assess. But if someone is trying to just send the answer, so instead of writing the entire function, if the student knows what is the final answer and just writes the answer into this particular variable, right? And the framework is like the variable has to be checked there. Then a student may get a correct answer if we put the assessment type to in such a manner that is the variable has to be checked, then that will be a kind of cheating kind of thing. But to avoid that, we can use this random function at the start of the program, so that every time we are getting a different answer. So in one way, the student has to write a function, a proper function, which is giving a proper value, okay, which is following all the things that are mentioned in the problem, instead of just writing the final answer into the variable. So that can be prevented. That is there. And so hope this will hope this kind of thing will help, means for giving function related problem. The script related you have seen earlier. Okay, yeah, so gentle reminder, assignment 3 problem solution. Okay, yeah, thank you for reminding. Let me now go to assignment 3 and see what is there. Assignment 3 problem solution is required. Okay, so okay, so okay, we will definitely the second solution, LM chart. Okay, this one. Okay, we will definitely go through that. But before that, I thought to just show another example, a simple example for everyone. Okay, so assignment 3 was an additional assignment, but since you have already solved, thank you for letting us know. You have tried for it. It is good to know. The first problem is a very simple one, just to plot a sine wave. Okay. So again, let me go to this edit window. Yeah. So this is the problem where we have we want to write a script to generate a sinusoid signal y and a vector containing the corresponding time values t. Okay. So once we have the time values and the sinusoidal signal y, we can plot it. Okay. And these are the parameters like amplitude, frequency, phase, time interval between samples, and the total number of samples and the number of samples which are provided, okay, which is mentioned here. And this is the reference solution here, okay, where the student needs to do three things actually. There are three tests involved. So though we are plotting a simple sine wave, so to plot that, what are the three steps? So we have broken down the problem into three steps. Like first is to calculate the final time sample value and assign the result to a variable TF. Okay, so that will give us the final time instant, and we know we have this interval variable already there, and the number of time samples is also mentioned here. So using these two, we have to calculate TF. So which is done here. TF equals to n minus 1 into t. Then the second problem, like we have to use the colon operator. So we have already mentioned it. So with the hyperlink, in case someone wants to refer the documentation, to create a row vector of n time samples from 0 to TF. Okay, spaced by t. So 0 to TF with a spacing of t has to be assigned to a variable t. So that is line number 8. T is the variable 0 colon with a time space of t to TF. And finally, the third thing is to create those, create the y vector actually to generate the sinusoidal wave. So use t and sine function to create the corresponding row vector of n's sine function values evaluated at the time values in t, but the amplitude, frequency, phase of the sine wave are given by the variables above, and assign the result to y. So which is shown in line number 9, a sine omega t plus 5. That is mentioned here, but this t is a time vector. So because this is the time vector, so after computing this, the vector length of y and t will be same, which can be plotted together to see the sine wave. Okay. And I'm just validating reference solution. So right now I am the instructor, so I can just validate the reference solution just to see whether it is running properly or not. And also the output can be plotted, though it is not a part of the test, but that can be also plotted, and you can see that it is all the tests that were given, so we are able to pass it. So this reference solution is good to go. So this is the first step that we need to do. Whenever we are creating a reference solution, we need to check it from our side. Now, similarly, just showing you very quickly, because this is only 3 lines of code here. So from the learner's perspective, the learner will find this script, and what the learner can do, learner can just let me just write the solution. It was n minus 1 into t. Then we have to create a t vector from 0 to tf with a spacing of capital T. And finally, if I write a into sine omega t plus phi is phi, that's it. Okay, so I am just running the script before submitting. So right now I'm the learner, and I can see the output here. Or suppose I want to see the vector values as well, I can open it, I can run the script again, and this time, okay, so I can actually see the entire vector here in the output now. So it is both are of length 100. So after this verification, maybe we can submit it, also run a pre-test. So this is another option, so which the instructor can give. Pre-test is a kind of, so let me just run it and show you. So if I run pre-test, then this result will not be submitted for grading, okay, but it will tell you whether the answer is correct or wrong. So if the instructor is giving this option, then for some of the questions, not all the questions, then it will actually help the student save the number of attempts to submit it, right? So in this case, I can see it is correct. So let me just submit it. So when we submit, all the three questions are submitted together, and I can see it is correct in this way. Now, coming to your question that you were asking on LM chirp, let me just so this was the learner template where you needed to write this function, basically the value of mu and y, and this is the reference solution. Okay. So here in this problem, what we are trying to do, we are writing a function, this linear FM chirp, to generate this linear FM chirp in the form of this, and your function should accept two input arguments, right? So one is t is a row vector of time samples at which to evaluate the chirp, and the second is point, which is a 1x2 row vector of frequency specification of the form this, such that the instantaneous frequency of the chirp at t equals to t point should be f point measured in hertz. Okay, so function should return two outputs, one is y and mu, and y should be a row vector values of the chirp function evaluated at the times in t, and mu is the chirp parameter implied by the given this constant. So do not use the chirp function, that is also mentioned here. So this is one way to do the solution. So if you were trying it and you are not getting the answer, so you can have a look at this. We can also post this in the chat window if it would be okay for all. I'm just posting the solution for this problem, the solution section. So inside the learner template, you need to compute mu and y. So that way you can do it. And similarly, if I validate the reference solution, so this is validated. So I hope I did it in a really long way. This looks more simple. Yeah. So thank you for that comment, Professor. Yes. So actually, means there are multiple ways the same thing could be done. So it is good that you tried this, the very last problem. So I expected most of you to go through assignment 1 and 2, but it is good to see you tried the last problem, the second problem in assignment 3. But yes, so that is the main advantage of giving these kind of assignment to students as well. So suppose you are giving some assignments where the students are coming up with different solutions. So you can view those in the learner analytics and see who is solving in what manner with more lines of codes or less lines of code. So that is a great advantage. Now another thing that Professor Simon mentioned. Okay, so that how can you create the course? Yeah, I haven't shown you that. So most of the part is covered inside the course, but suppose you want to create a new course. So this is the courses section. You have to simply go to add course. So you have to add the course and you have to write your course name here. So suppose this is a course XYZ. Okay, XYZ for maybe semester 5. Okay, a semester 5 course. You can mention the time zone here. So let's take plus 5:30. What is nearest here? So let me check this and give a start date. So start date of 30, end date of maybe 3 months or maybe till October. and you can mention these toolboxes. So suppose, so we have seen curve fitting earlier. So suppose we want to use curve fitting toolbox, then we can choose it. Okay, just wait 1 second. There is someone knocking. Let me just come back. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry for that interruption. Okay, thank you. So you can just mention the start and end date. You can give a description. You can, oh, even before the description, you can mention. So suppose it requires some specific toolboxes for your course. So based on that, you can select those here as well. For instance, I was telling that curve fitting toolbox. Suppose we need to use some functions, some specific functions that are used in that curve fitting toolbox. Then we can choose it. But instead, if we are giving a course where we do not want them to use any functions, but write the code manually, so we will not go to this section or select any particular product. Okay, this is one thing. Like there is, if we specifically talk about mathematics, so we have used the sims function to symbolically define the variable and symbolically define the function, which makes use of the symbolic math toolbox. So if we want to give that kind of assignment, so we can mention that thing. In the description, we can give a brief description using our text, whatever we usually give write in the Word document. Instead of that, we can just copy paste or write something of that sort. Insert some hyperlinks or images or latex form equations. Okay, just to give a brief preview. So I'm just saving it just to show you the workflow. So that's it. The course is created. So the course is created. Now you have to just keep on adding the assignments. Okay, so suppose I want to give the first assignment or first assignment for the course. Again, the same thing. Assignment 1 will appear. You can rename it. You can give a visibility date of maybe 2 weeks. So from 30th to 30th to 9th or 30th to 14th maybe. Okay. So this is the time duration for first assignment. Maybe you can give unlimited submission or limited to some extent to 3 or 4. Again, give some description for that particular assignment. Save it. So it is like a nested loop kind of thing. So this is the course. Now the assignment name is there. Now under assignment, you have to just add your problem. So now this is the section. So where you can make utilization of this of adding your existing problems. So whatever problems you have been using in your code, so whatever type it may be a small simple problem, it may be a complex problem. So if you have a reference solution to it, okay, you can create a blank problem. You can create a blank problem. You can give the description of that problem and mention what is to be done for that problem. Store the reference solution here. Either it can be of a script format or a function format. So both of these you have seen how it can be used in both ways. And provide the reference solution. Give a assessment method here. like if we want to check a variable with a reference solution, or if we want to even check a function. Suppose we want students to know about a particular function. Maybe for FFT, we want students to use the FFT function. Then we can choose this kind of test. So the student should use a function or keyword is present, and what should be the function we are mentioning here. So maybe FFT. So this function must be used in the code. So this sub part of the assessment will only check that whether the student has used the function or not. In other ways, suppose we want the student to compute FFT but not using the FFT function. So we are choosing this function or keyword is absent, and we are mentioning that this function should not be used. However, they should calculate the FFT of a signal. Okay, so these are various ways we can choose the type of test type, and we can keep on adding the number of assessments for a particular problem. Okay, so inside course name, inside the first assignment, inside the problem one, we are giving number of tests. Okay, which the student will be able to submit. So this is one thing when you are creating a problem by scratch. And the second thing, there are some sample problems which you can use to get started, and which might be also relevant to some of your courses. So for that, maybe I am leaving this portion and adding a problem from this sample problems collection. So the first one was a blank problem. Second section is a section where we have some sample problems. So like the getting started with MATLAB Grader has 13 problems. So the most of the problems that was given in the assignments earlier was taken from here. Okay. So similarly, if you are teaching a course on digital signal processing, or if you are teaching a course on calculus 1, calculus 2, or introduction to programming has 111 problems. And if you are in the mechanical department or control systems, you may like find these sections like dynamics and system dynamics and control. There are 10 problems each here. And for mathematics, we also have 10 problems from the symbolic math toolbox and numerical methods. Okay, so suppose I am just choosing any of the problems from here. So the problem that we just saw, one is the sinusoid and another is the linear FM chirp. So these are also from the sample problem. We are just copying it, and this problem gets added here under assignment 1. Similarly, if I add another problem, suppose in this assignment I would like to give some problem from symbolic math toolbox maybe. Okay, so this is a XYZ random course. So maybe how to create a symbolic variable, the very first task. Okay, just copying it, and it will get added in the left side. That's it. So this way you can just create the number of assignments. And now the main advantage of this is to get started actually, because you may also have your set of problems ready, but you may not want to spend a lot of time in understanding how to put the problem in the collection section. So for that, maybe if it is related to symbolic math or it is related to signal processing, you may open a sample set and you may open this template and you can just set it to draft. Okay, you can set it to draft and you can modify the questions or modify certain tasks. Similarly, modify certain portion of codes if you want to add certain things here. So here the problem was just to define a symbolic variable z, x1, x2, and integer. So that was the only thing here. So you can see the learner template empty. But for your problem, there may be a couple of more things which you would like to do with these symbolic variables, which you can just keep on including here, and then edit the title, edit the problem description, edit the reference solution, the test, and save it. So that once you save it, that becomes a new problem, and those problems should actually be, ideally it should be saved in the collection section. So you are actually saving this directly when you are creating a course, So if I go out of this course, let me just go out of this course. So we have seen this courses section. Okay, getting started, we have seen courses, we have seen how to add a course. After that, there is another section which we haven't seen yet. This is the content section. So here inside the content section, we have this add collection tab, where we can actually, where we should add the problems. So suppose you have 5 problems in your mind that you would like to give as assignments. So you can add those 5 problems here with a collection name. So suppose it is related to maths or any other subject, you can relate it to maybe semester 3, and you can add collection here. And inside the add collection, you can simply add the problems. So now we are not focusing on creating any code. We are just focusing on adding the problems, okay, to make the database strong. So we have these existing things that is there, but specific to your course and specific to the problem that you are already giving in your earlier semester, you have already given in your earlier semester, or you are planning to give things. So you can add those 2-3 problems here and just save it. Okay, so you have to just write those problems here and save it as final. So I haven't mentioned anything here. So XXX, CCC, script type. So something has to be mentioned, otherwise it won't be, it won't save it. And yeah, so you have to actually complete it fully. Means you have to provide a assessment type as well. I have not given anything, so I want to compare with the variable v maybe, and v equals to, I'm just giving anything random just to save it, means not creating a. Okay, so this is the structure actually. So I'm just deleting actually. This is not required here. Yeah. So this is one thing, that you have to create a blank problem, or inside this same collection, suppose you want to also add some existing things from the other collection, that also you can add. Okay, so maybe from numerical methods, what is there? The first problem. So you see inside this collection, so this is a collection, user new collection name. We can also add the existing problems, plus we can add our own problem. And once that is created, so while creating our course, we can just copy and paste those problem sets whenever we want. Means suppose some of the problems may be given in the first assignment, and some of the other problems may be given in the later stage of the semester, maybe the third assignment. So similarly, you can distribute them and give assignments to your students. So this is the overall view of the MATLAB Grader. So now coming back to the slide, just to tell you the other thing, like you can do integrated with the LMS environment. So I mentioned that earlier. So in case your college is using any of the LMS framework, Moodle, Blackboard, or Canvas, so are you using any of these LMS frameworks, just to understand? This learning management system framework like Moodle, Blackboard, or Canvas as of now? Why it is? Oh, thank you for letting. Oh, so you are using Moodle. Oh, so that is great. So in case you are using Moodle, so that is a way, means the Moodle administrator has to give access. So there are some steps with which you can integrate the MATLAB Grader with the Moodle environment also. So we can show you the documentation page, the steps that are needed to do that. But irrespective of this, you can use it independently. So it is not that only after this integration you can get started. Only thing you need is a MathWorks account. So these are the steps which the Moodle admin, whoever is the Moodle administrator, will need to follow to integrate it with the LMS environment as well. I am pasting this link as well here. So this is another thing. And in case you face any issue for in doing that, please let us know. We can work with you to make the integration possible. And so we have seen there are these sample MATLAB Grader problem sets. So if you want to have access to them, so if these problem sets are useful for your courses, somehow it is related, or you can just we would be sharing a feedback form also, so you can just fill your mail ID, and yeah, there you can mention whether you need the access to this. So there is a small step from our side which we have to do, which will help you to get access to all these sets, the existing sets. So at this moment, if you have already logged in, you will be able to see this first one, getting started with MATLAB Grader, but not the other ones. The other ones, so we have to give access. So based on your feedback, we will enroll everyone so that you can use it in your upcoming courses and it's creating those assignments as well. So these are some faculty feedback from different universities for different courses. Like the first one is from a robotics professor who's using who's a Blackboard. That is another LMS like Moodle and Canvas. So I want to use this in all of my courses that involve MATLAB. So yeah, that is very true. So who is actually using MATLAB and already giving MATLAB based assignments, for them this is a very useful tool, because this is actually saving a lot of time, and also for the long run, also for the next and upcoming years also. So once the database is created, so it is a one-time investment kind of thing. You can use it, you can update it every time you want, but you can use the existing sets, make a mix of problems, and give different assignments to different batches in the upcoming year as well. So it will save a lot of time in not only in the upcoming semester, but in the future as well, if you are taking the same courses in the next year and the next year as well. And the second is for a linear systems course by Professor Angelique Rensburg. The lab time required was reduced by more than 50% because the students knew what to expect. So that is the same thing, the main advantage of using auto grading. The students are getting instant response, and the faculty need not check the answers manually. It is only creating the assignment for the first time and setting up the course. That's it. That's where the time has to be spent. And also from there are some YouTube videos, yeah, from IIT Madras professors and quotes, like Professor Preeti here has mentioned how she has used MATLAB Grader in her course. So we will be sharing this slide to you. Okay, so I think the link is expired here. I don't know why. Let me see the other link. This is another link by Professor Arun Tangirala from IIT Madras. So this is a YouTube link. Let me see. So yeah, the professor has made this video, a tutorial on MATLAB Grader. So apart from, so this will take around 15 minutes, but if you are more interested, especially this professor is from chemical engineering department. So if you are more interested how the professor is using it, you can look over to this YouTube link as well. I'm just posting it again to have a better understanding of how it can be used. So in summary, we can create these interactive courses and we can reuse the problem collection. So you have to just keep on building your problem collection. Maybe add 10 problems every semester. It will, or not every semester. So once you add 10 problems, maybe at the later stage, upcoming semester, you need to add lesser number of problems because the collection set is just becoming bigger, and you can reuse it in multiple ways in giving multiple assignments in each semester to automatically grade the students, who will also get their feedback instantaneously, and you can run integrated with the LMS environment as well. So there are steps to do that. Now, so another final poll question. So we are at the very end of this. So before sharing the feedback form, just wanted your views, like how you would like to use MATLAB Grader, whether you're interested to use MATLAB Grader or MATLAB Grader with the Moodle interface, or neither of these for the next semester at least. And the second, so for the first question, you can answer A, B, or C right now.
Anand sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
See, we have created the course. How to add the students and how to send the link. The students, how do you know that the assignment is posted? Where to post? How to do that? Course is ready, but how to add the student and how to communicate the student that you need to do the assignment? Can you please show the demo?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for asking the question. So let me just show you. So about this course is ready. This is the Learn MATLAB course that was created earlier. And so inside this course, there is this Manage People tab. I have to go to this tab. And here I have to enroll the number of students. So for example, how did I enroll all of you here? So you can just collect the email IDs all together, and maybe I can just show you a glimpse of it. I'm just copying the email IDs with a semicolon after each of the email ID, and I'm enrolling everyone as a learner. So because it is already enrolled, they will throw this error. So unless we are enrolling a new email ID. So if there is anyone present in this meeting who has not been enrolled here, so can you just type your mail ID in the chat window? I can then just enroll you right now, and I can also show them the workflow. If there is anyone who wants to get enrolled to this course, you can just mention your mail ID who has not given your mail ID earlier, because I have collected it from the earlier form, registration form. So means if there is no one, if there is everyone who has already done, so it's okay. So this is the process actually. So if there is a new mail ID, then I can just mention it. I can enroll it. It will keep on adding up here. Similarly, the same way, I have to just choose instructor here. So if for a particular course you want to assign some TAs, some research scholars as TAs or some co-instructor, you can mention the mail ID here and enroll them here. That's it. That's the process to enroll. So I hope this answers your query, and any more queries related to this framework. Yeah, whatever is shown here. So any doubts, queries, we would be happy to answer now.
I guess
Anand
another
sir,
point. Yeah.
Anand sir, how to send the notification? Either to mail, we need to send the notification, or if we simply add their email ID, they will get the notification.
Oh, yeah. If you simply
About
enroll
the
them,
new assignment.
yeah, once you enroll them, they will get the notification instantly once you enroll them. Shovik, you were telling something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that only. So the other point that Professor Simon you mentioned, how will they get the notification is basically once we send an once we put somebody's email, they will get that email notification. Maybe Anand, you can also maybe try removing me from there and add me again so that I can also show the email sort of things.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, that
Just
is
delete.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
resend.
I'm doing that. There is another option though. Thanks for asking that question actually. So we can select everyone and resend the notification. So once we are creating it for the first time, obviously they will get a notification. But for giving a reminder, the way we give during these WebEx meetings as well, so you can select them and click on resend notification. Then each of the student will get the notification again. Also, suppose like here I have made my colleague Shovik as a learner, so for testing purposes. So now I can now maybe delete him from the course, and I can again enroll him. So maybe this time not as a learner, but maybe as an instructor. Okay, and I'm just enrolling him. So now you see he's not in the learners tab, but in the instructors tab. So now both the instructor can simultaneously have access to all of them, and they can edit, add whatever problems that can be added. And that is how you can manage the courses, manage the people in terms of learner and instructor. And for notification, you have to just select here and click on this resend button. So I'm just selecting all here in the learner section. I'm selecting resend notification. So all of you who are here will get an email with a reminder for this course.
Anand sir, this platform is only for MATLAB MATLAB coding type questions, or can we use it for any other type of examination?
So this is only for MATLAB based assignment, and the assignment can be of two types. Either it can be a script based or a function based, because in these two ways you can give those assignments. So that is the reason I mentioned these are the very basic things. How does a script based problem or a function based problem look like? So the date for since not everyone got a chance to go through everything, but though some of the professors even tried the assignment 3 problem, it is good to know. So if you can, so this due date is 29th, na? So you see this due date is 29th. Let me just edit and increase the due date. Okay, so that you can get more time. So maybe till the course date. The course date was till August 22. So you can take your time in doing looking into this course as an instructor. And meanwhile, you can also, so here we have no due date. For assignment 2, we have no due date. For assignment 1, we have again the same 22 August. Okay. Yeah. So you can go over these problems, and also you can fill the form that we will share now. Let me, where is that form? Okay. So this was one thing. After that, so we have this form. Let me just copy it in the chat window, the link to the form to everyone. To everyone. So yeah. So I find one. You can just fill in this feedback form to mention which courses or whether you need. Most of them is similar. Yeah. So does the course use MATLAB or Simulink at present? And if it is yes or yes, you can mention. Do you give this MATLAB based assignment? So in case you give, you can just this is a similar question. So do you evaluate? So if you are giving assignment, you are also evaluating it or not. So just to give feedback to the students, and you can mention the course name here, and we would be able to give you access to the existing problem set. So Professor Titus, you have asked about, is there any problem sets for aerospace toolbox? So we have some problem sets related to it, but not very specific to it. So which I have shown in this slide. So these are the sets that we already have. So our team, with time, it may get increased to with more number of problems as well. But as of now, this is the set that we have. So if you can use some of those related to your course, maybe some from this section, system dynamics and controller dynamics, and the rest you can create and modify in the collection section. Yeah, thank you for asking that thing. So yeah, so you can ask your queries, and while you are filling the feedback form, you can ask any other queries related to the framework, any challenges you were facing earlier. We would like to answer that. So this is the framework. And another thing is you can just download everything as a report format also. Suppose you are in this assignment 1. You can just simply download it, the best solution or all the solutions in the form of Excel file. And if you want to include the code files as well, so you can download it. And if you want to use that plagiarism detection software to check line by line each of the code, for that purpose you can download the code files as well in the form of report. So this is another thing that I just wanted to mention. So do let us know through this feedback form, and also now we are there just to answer any queries you might have. And do contact us also by email in case you are facing some issue later. So we will get in touch with you in trying to solve that.
Anand sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you please show one more time a sample question, and what is the usage of reference solution, which means how it really the MATLAB justify the answer is correct or wrong? Can you please show one more time?
Okay, sure. So suppose
you take a simple problem.
Yeah, I'm taking the first problem itself. So this is the sample problem. The problem has this problem summary, and I'm actually editing this problem. So this is this edit tab. You have to click here. So then you will be able to see the entire thing. So right from the title, problem description, and if there is any file, so if you want to load some file in your solution, you can add file here also. In this case, it is not necessary. And inside the code section, this is the place where you have to put the reference solution. So whatever problem it may be, so it has to work perfectly. So based on the problem statement, the reference solution should work. And the final part is the assessment criteria. So here we have only one test, and the test type is it is a kind of script kind of test. So we have selected the problem type as script, not function. The function was the other thing that we discussed earlier today, and script is the other way you can give assignment. And we want to check the variable. Variable equals reference solution. So now I cannot edit it, because just by opening it, I won't be able to edit it. I have to set it to draft. Okay, so once I set it to draft, this becomes editable unless I save it as final. So now I can edit it, and I can show you the other things also. Like here, I just want to check the variable name, whether the final variable is equal to the reference solution. So this is the final variable volume, which is mentioned in the question as well, volume. And we are checking it with this variable. So that's it. So it will check with the check this variable with whatever is done by the learner at the learner's end. And if it is correct, okay, the learner solution equals the reference solution, means the volume of the learner equals the volumes of the reference, then it is correct. So it will be giving the right answer. So this is the place where you are giving, and you can validate your reference solution. So once you create this, so obviously before actually rolling out the assignment, you have to check whether it is done correctly or not. So you can validate the reference solution, and you can see, yeah, it is giving the correct answer, so it is correct. And as an additional step, you can go to the learner preview and maybe also try from the learner's perspective, put down the solution here. So maybe I'm not submitting anything as of now. I'm just submitting it. So it should give a wrong solution. Okay. So this is the workflow. Means just to say it briefly, and then back to the instructor view. So does that answer your query?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I found the number of questions, the existing questions are very less. Is it possible to increase the sample questions related to mathematics or any other field? In future, if we have a question bank, set of question banks with the MATLAB, whether it is possible to load everything in your website?
Yeah. So whenever it is updated, we will let you know. So as of now, overall it is not that less. Means if you go through them, so let me just show you how many are there very briefly. I can show you through this course itself. Yeah. So suppose in assignment number 3, I am adding a new problem. So like we have 111 problems from introduction to programming. So this is a very key skill. So those who are learning MATLAB, so you can choose some basic, some intermediate, some advanced, whatever the case may be from this section. It is applicable to everyone because MATLAB tool is a common thing. So they must know some basics of introduction to programming, following which they can make use of the other sets related to specific course names as mentioned, where we have around 10 problems.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
if
sir.
yeah.
In numerical
So this is
methods and calculus 1 and 2, I see only 10 problems.
Yes.
That's why I asked this question.
Right. So you may go through them. It is not like since it is 10 problems, you should give all the 10 problems together. So the difficulty level of problems are also maybe may vary. So maybe you are giving 2 problems for the first assignment, and maybe 2-3 problems which you already have in your mind. So you can add it to that existing set. So for the first assignment, you give that. Similarly, you can make a mix of problems, something from your end and something from the existing set, and give as assignment 2 at a later stage of the semester. So in case you are planning to give 2 assignments per semester, so that can be one of the case. Instead of giving all the 10 problems, so depending on the difficulty level of the problem. So that is one thing to be considered. And definitely, since you mentioned, so whenever we are adding anything new, we will keep you updated and let you know about the new collection.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from the audience? Thank you, Anand,
do let
sir.
us know your question. Yeah. Do let us know your question later also.
Yes. So they will post it in through mail. Feedback form, sir. Last week's speaker, I forgot to introduce. I'm sorry for that. About Dr. Shovik Chatterjee. He's a recipient of Best PhD Thesis Award and Young Scientist Award from International Society of Energy, Environment and Sustainability. He worked in University of Illinois at Chicago as postdoctoral associate and at Enterprise Works, Chicago, as a strategy consultant for commercialization of academic innovations. He has co-authored multiple journal articles, book chapters, and is a co-inventor of 2 US patents He completed BE in Mechanical Engineering from Jalapur University and a dual MS PhD degree from Jalapur University and Virginia Tech. Thank you, sir, Soik Chatterjee, for your wonderful presentation last week. I'm sorry, I really forgot to mention all these details. I got the information very late. Thank you so much, Anand sir and Chatterjee, Janardhan sir, Harris sir, for taking initiative to conduct this program. I also thank the management, Dr. Elizabeth Varghese, Pro Chancellor, Anand Jacob Varghese, Director Ashok Varghese, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sridhara, and all the faculty members, research scholars for participating in this event. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor.
And what we are going to do in the next week, Anand sir?
Yeah, so next week we would be focusing on Simulink. So on Tuesday and Friday. So as mentioned in the brochure, so kindly we will send we will update that same event link with those two events, same time. So do let everyone know. We will be covering the Simulink aspect. So that was not covered yet. So we were mainly focusing on MATLAB. So we will cover Simulink for a general audience. So Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for the information.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Is there anyone participant left? Thank you, audience, sir. What is that? Anand, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall we stop the meeting?
Okay, yes. So let me just stop the meeting. So yeah. Okay, do fill the feedback form, and it would be helpful. And I am stopping the meeting then.
Please stop the recording. And today really